So the Nintendo Switch 2 we know has broken all sorts of records worldwide, but many felt that it could just be the peak and things could come crashing down after the diehard fans go out there and buy the system. And while that was always potentially a possibility, in actuality of it happening, probably not. Now we have some actual confirmation of this recently when it comes to Nintendo's restocks and what's happening, because we are getting quite a number of reports when it comes to restocks, in addition to what's happening when Nintendo has them at some of their biggest places, for example, like the Nintendo New York store. So we're going to go over that and so much more in this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into talking first about the Nintendo Switch 2 demand situation, because once again, some people felt that things could tumble off after the first week or so. So shout outs to RSF Gabe. He's over there in New York and he was passing by the Nintendo New York store and he snapped a picture of the amount of demand for people that were lining up to pick up a restock for the Nintendo Switch 2. On Twitter, he said, "This is the line at Nintendo NY to buy the Switch 2 30 minutes after open." Remember when they said this would be another Wii U. So essentially, I quote tweeted that and said that if anybody thought demand for the Nintendo Switch 2 would disappear after the launch weekend or so, yeah, not really happening. Donkey Kong Bananza, Metroid Prime 4, Kirby Air Riders, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Splatoon Raiders, and more still coming, because yes, people are excited to play the games. And once again, I've said this before, and that's why I thought this system would be very, I would say, successful, was because the Nintendo Switch 1 offered something that a lot of other people are not offering. The Switch 2 takes a lot of the weaknesses that the Nintendo Switch 1 has and actually improves so many different things. Not a perfect system. Make sure you check out my review of the system overall. I go over all the pros and the cons, but when it comes down to it, it's essentially a unicorn, because nobody else is making a hybrid device like this that can actually do what it does. Everyone's making portable PC handhelds, or they're making streaming devices. Nobody's actually making a console hybrid device. So I think that's the reason why, along with the incredible first-party games, that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to continue selling well, starting off with a strong system seller like Mario Kart, a follow-up to a game that sold nearly 70 million copies on the Nintendo Switch 1, was definitely the smart move, as people are going to probably go in there, get the bundle, or buy the system and Mario Kart and enjoy that. So it's one of those things to where I knew this would be the case overall when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it looks like it's paying off pretty much everywhere for the most part. Now, we do have a little bit of an update on the restock situation, so not everyone can be in New York for the Nintendo store restocks. Shout outs to my man Jake Randall. He actually put an update on Walmart restocks, so let's go ahead and get into that. So he said this on Twitter: "The next in-store restocks for Walmart after the initial launch stocks sell out will be the last week of June 25th/26ish, with 10 to 30 total average per store. Nintendo stockpile made a great launch, but it's drained. Hopefully they can still meet demand going forward." And then he also says that, "I will keep you updated on restocks, but 94% of my subscribers already grabbed one in my streams and from my videos, so there will be a push for new content on the channel as well. I hope you like it." So essentially what he's trying to say here, well, yes, there was a huge launch stock, right? Walmart had a ton of them. I got one from Walmart as well. There was a lot of stock. There is a drain on those, because remember, they did have a record overall. Nobody sold more systems in the history of gaming systems in the first 4 days than the Nintendo Switch 2, by a large margin. It wasn't by a little bit, it was by a lot, 1 million plus. So that's the problem right now. So restocks are coming, but they're not going to be as plentiful as that first edition launch stock, where some stores had 80, 100, hundreds of them stacked up overall. And you saw all the pictures of people saying, "Look, you can still get them." Yeah, that didn't last very long overall. So with Walmart here, just look out. Make sure you guys follow Jake Randall over on Twitter. He's going to get you guys the latest news, but I'm going to be bringing you what he has to say as well. So if you want a Nintendo Switch 2, make sure you lock in when it comes to this channel. In addition to Jake Randall, as well. But also lock into subscribing to this channel if you have not already subscribed. I will be doing some awesome stuff like Donkey Kong Bonanza giveaways next month. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, click that notification bell, and drop a comment below on what you're looking forward to the most for the Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes to games this year. All right, let's go and get into the next very unfortunate thing that happened recently, because there was an interesting post, or more like an interesting thing, over in London. There was a billboard in, I guess, the railway, like the train or whatever, that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is out now. But I have an explanation, because I posted this on Twitter saying that this is a mistake, because Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is not out now, and there's not going to be any type of shadow drop for a game this big, where they announced all those years ago. They had to scrap it, restart with Retro Studios, hire a ton of talent, so this game is expensive. They've spent a lot on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, a game that honestly, when it comes to sales perspectives, the Metroid franchise kind of struggles to even hit 2 to 3 million in sales. So they've spent a ton of money on this game. They are not going to shadow drop it, and now we have more of an explanation on what's going on here. So Wario64 posted this. However, we have spotted similar Mario Kart World poster alongside it, seen below, featuring the same out now message. It's therefore likely that whoever created the ads copied the template over for the Metroid Prime 4 ad and forgot to remove the out now part, because there's Donkey Kong Bonanza that doesn't have it out now at this point. It says July 17th. They just forgot to take that out, because Mario Kart World has the same design for out now right next to it. Direct Feed Games followed that up by saying, when one takes a closer inspection on the out now graphic, one will notice the tire treading fitting for Mario Kart World marketing. These same treads are on the Metroid Prime 4 out now graphic, which cover up another layer, which likely says 2025. It's an unfortunate design error. So there you go, guys. It's not out now. Obviously, it's not going to be shadow dropped. There isn't going to be some type of shadow Nintendo Direct coming like tomorrow or something like that, and they're just not going to do that. It's still the launch month. It's still just the first few weeks, first couple weeks of the Nintendo Switch 2, so people just need to relax, calm down. We saw the situation that's going on with third parties when it comes to people reporting on, oh my god, the world's falling, it's been 2 weeks, third party this and that. It's like, people just need to relax. Okay, guys, Metroid Prime 4, it's coming. They're probably going to have a release date for it coming up pretty soon. They probably actually want to detail Metroid Prime 2 and Metroid Prime 3 beforehand, and probably shadow drop those sometime in July or August before Metroid Prime 4 officially gets a release. So don't worry, guys. We got more information coming. Let's just enjoy the launch month. Get ready for Donkey Kong Bonanza next month, and they will detail Metroid Prime 4 when it happens. But I was not sold when I first saw this. I was not sold that this was like an immediate release or something like that, or imminent release for the game, even though some people were trying to say that it was. No, it was a mistake. Nintendo has made mistakes before when it comes to things, but they wouldn't make this type of mistake. This is a contractor or design error mistake. That's what I felt from the very beginning, and that was pretty much proven to be true now at this point. So let's go and move on to the next thing that looks like it's going to be actually real, and that is Crash Team Racing getting a massive update for the Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox, and PlayStation. So there is a new rumor going around that Microsoft and Activision are preparing a big Crash Team Racing update for consoles, and essentially this is what's going to be happening here. There was also a rumor from someone who apparently worked on it that said this: I work for a small studio under Activision and Microsoft. We were assigned this project months ago. I made a Reddit account while using a VPN just to cover my butt. I probably shouldn't be sharing this information given the NDA I had to sign, but here goes nothing. I have attached a few pictures I took with some of the things I'm talking about. That already seems incredibly sketchy that somebody would even do something like that. So I'm already kind of doubting things, but let's see here. So one, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel will be coming to PC platforms early 2026. I'm not sure if it will be on Steam, but it will 100% be available on Xbox Game Pass for PC users. A few new characters have been added as a thank you to fans. The original Beanox team has absolutely no hands on what we did with this re-release. We did not tweak gameplay other than adding a reserve meter. They were nice enough to give us their notes and information about the code, and that was all contact we had. There is one new track, and it will be released with a Grand Prix along with the new characters to unlock, just the same as it was when the game was first released. I'm not sure if there's plans for more than one Grand Prix at this time. PS5, Xbox Series X, and Switch 2 will get a proper release for $40. It will not just be a port. The game will be fully playable across platform. However, PS4, Switch, and Xbox One users will not be included with this. Sorry, you will have to buy the game on a new gen console. So it looks like it's going to be getting a graphics boost as well. So he attached some pictures here that you guys are seeing. They're calling it Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled Grand Prix Edition. So that is a mouthful when it comes to the name. So we'll see if it actually ends up happening. Now, I did play the original Crash Team Racing on PS1, and I played the remaster or remake or whatever you want to call it on the Nintendo Switch, and it didn't work for me online. It was an okay game, 30 FPS for a kart racer, maybe not so great, but it was an okay game. I thought it was fun back then. I still think it's a good game now. And then if they put it out on Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox Series, and PS5, they get that up to 60 FPS. That would be good, plus some new content in there for $40. If this turns out to be true, I think this is going to be a good proposition for many Crash Team Racing fans out there or kart racing fans out there, as there's a kart racing renaissance going on right now with Mario Kart World, in addition to the Sonic racing game as well. And now we also have this too. So that would probably be 2026, it seems, but we'll see what happens going forward in the future. All right, guys, next up, we're going to talk about Lies of P for the Nintendo Switch 2 potentially, or just more like a milestone for the game and what we reported on before. So shout outs to Stealth on Twitter. He had this to say: as a reward for hitting 3 million units sold, Lies of P publisher NeoWiz is rewarding all the staff of developer Round 8 Studio with Switch 2 systems. I love how Switch 2 has become the reward for developers hitting sales milestones. So I commented by also saying Lies of P is also rumored to be coming to Switch 2 as well. So we saw this just recently with developer ShiftUp, who makes Stellar Blade. They also gifted all of their developers Nintendo Switch 2 systems just because they've been doing great. They hit 3 million as well. So a lot of these alternate type of action Souls type of games are doing well, hitting multiple millions of units sold. So that's definitely good for the developers. Obviously, stable income, stable environment, getting cool Nintendo Switch 2s as development prizes overall. That's pretty cool. I like that. And I do think that, once again, it's more than just as a, I would say, prize for selling 3 million units. I think that they actually want them to understand and know the system because they're working on a port. Because once again, I actually talked about, and there was a rumor that Lies of P is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2, and with 3 million units sold, obviously platform expansion would be a good idea. Get more people into your game with a popular hybrid system that they can play anywhere that they want. Sounds like a good idea, and it does seem like these developers are gearing up their employees to get familiar with the system, to understand it, and to help develop, to put ideas into their Nintendo Switch 2 ports overall. So I think that's what's happening here, and why. It's like, hey, look at this cool prize, but, you know, also, we got work to do when it comes to supporting the system going forward in the future. So we'll see what happens with Lies of P and its potential Nintendo Switch 2 port down the line. But moving on to the next topic here, Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct and how popular it is at the time. It was getting crazy amounts of views, and I put that on Twitter saying this was yesterday. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to have a big launch on Nintendo Switch 2. The Direct from yesterday has hit over 2.8 million views and is #2 trending. The overall excitement for the game seems very high now after the Direct. Then also Stealth followed that up this morning saying this: the Donkey Kong Bonanza Direct passed 3 million views and is at 116,000 likes on YouTube in 48 hours. The Mario Kart World Direct currently has the same amount of views, but 89,000 likes. The Direct went a really long way in selling everyone on Donkey Kong Bonanza. So people are excited for this game. I think it's going to do incredibly well. Now, is it going to do better than Mario Kart World? No, you can never really relate the views and likes based off of that, and Stealth's not implying that. He's just implying that there is a lot of excitement for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like, people are jazzed and excited and hyped because while this game got really good views beforehand, like the trailer for Donkey Kong Bonanza from the Nintendo Direct back in April got over 3 million views. People are going to buy this game. People were going to buy this game regardless. People were going to go out there and support it. It's Donkey Kong. People love Donkey Kong, and they thought that it looked great from the first trailer that Nintendo showed off at the Nintendo Switch 2 April Direct. But I think that at this point, with the skill trees, with Pauline being revealed, with the different abilities, the transformations, the challenge courses, how it looks graphically, showing more detail on all the different moves that you can do, the terrain destruction, the Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong, Cranky, everything that they showed off in this Direct was just awesome. There really wasn't much to say, oh, that's not really good, or I don't think that's fun. Heck, the outfits are even fun overall when it comes to the color schemes and everything. So the fact that everyone was just vibing and gelling and felt that that was an incredible Direct, and the comments on YouTube clearly show that, I think that this game is going to have a fantastic launch and sell more and more people, because being able to play this game anywhere that you want with the type of game that it is when it comes to the collections and when it comes to the different challenge courses and all of that, it's going to be a game that's going to take you multiple hours and hours to really 100% and get through. I think a hybrid is perfect for this. So I think that they have set up Donkey Kong Bonanza to be a massive seller and probably outsell Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze in terms of how it did on the Nintendo Switch 1 and on the Wii U. I really think this game has enough potential to do that in the long run. Obviously, not in the short term because the Nintendo Switch is just starting out, but in the next 2 to 3 years or so, look out. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza could become a big seller for Nintendo going forward. So what do you guys think about everything that we discussed here? A lot of big Nintendo Switch 2 news and updates. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 content, RPG games, and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.